Welcome to the Kyber Lab, episode 13. In this episode, we're going to look at a Finalizer versus Home 1 fight, which is more complicated than you might think. And the goal of this Kyber Lab is to max your banners, avoid RNG, and remove as many mistakes as possible. So, starting out here, the goal is to get more than 60 banners. 62, 64 is amazing, but it's a little more difficult because almost everyone will take damage in this fight on your side. The only gear and mod checks are related to speed. So the main thing here, at assuming equivalent gear levels of both you and your opponent, is to make sure that the special forces or the first order special forces TIE fighter goes before Bistan. It's naturally he's a little bit faster, and usually the pilot is modded more effectively anyway, because it's a requirement for Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. But Bistan, assuming everybody is maxed, the First Order Special Forces TIE is 206 speed, and Bistan is 204 or 203.75 or something like that. But make sure he goes before Bistan. In many situations, especially in the early game, if you have Supreme Leader Kylo, Kylo Ren's command shuttle, whose I think max speed is 189 or something like that, assuming they have protection, will also go before Bistan, but usually, and in this situation, he does not. So the goal is kill Hans Millennium Falcon, and depending on, and you'll see how this plays out here, depending on the Falcon's status before Bistan's move, you have a couple of different choices to try and make the fight easier for you. But it's still a bit RNG if you don't manage to kill Falcon. There is some RNG involved, certainly, if Bistan moves before your command shuttle. So let's take a look and see how it plays out. This is a great fight from Zareth. So Hunted goes on Hans Falcon first. Then the Silencer will take a basic on Falcon. Lands a stun, very nice. Concussive Missile now goes on Silencer. And here you can see Bistan just moves right here. There's a decision point to be made. Let's back up 5 seconds. So we'll look at the hits here. That's not a crit. That is not a crit. And that is a crit. So because you didn't have a crit, the advantage was not on Special Forces TIE before his hit. Because you had 2 non-crits, Falcon is not dead. So that's some bad RNG. That's unlikely. So you have a choice now when you take a turn with this concussive missile. You can go for Bistan. It's a possibility you'll kill Bistan, but more likely you'll stun him. And then Kylo Ren's command shuttle will have another turn. We'll pass turn meter back to Silencer, and you can go for Hans Millennium Falcon again and sort of stall it out a little bit, because there's not a guarantee that Biggs will actually target lock anybody and taunt. It's another way to go that is a bit better for stalling, but it's really the RNG. You have to do it depending on what you think your critical hit is going to be. I think this is the best choice. What he did here is going straight for Millennium Falcon, because that's very unlucky hits there. So now you have 2 choices. You could pass turn meter, and Zareth in his video explains this very well too. You can find this video on Render His Science, probably how you're seeing this one too. If you just pass turn meter to the Silencer, he cannot stun Biggs, because Biggs doesn't have over 50% turn meter. So it really does nothing to pass turn meter. He sits and talks about it a while. Yeah, it's better just to try for the big hit. You could also go for the ability block on Biggs, which is nice because it saves you some damage. Here you can go for a kill. Finally, here, definitely want to go for the ability block on Millennium Falcon so he doesn't do his wiggle move and become untargetable. He talks about it quite a bit. Finally, he goes for the ability block and lands it. And then here he calls in Xanadu Blood, because Xanadu Blood can call an assist of anybody. And here I think Hans Falcon is taken out. So very good recovery there off a sort of an awkward situation. You also have the opportunity to bring in, instead of first order special forces tie, bring in first order TIE fighter, because that will give enough speed to make sure you go. You don't get the assist with the silencer though. You can still kill Hans Millennium Falcon and guarantee you go first, but it's a bit more. You just do not have the 1, 2, 3 punch move that you have with this setup, but it also it works. Your pilots all have to be geared though. You can't have gear 12s or something like that. They all have to be relic. And now Zareth is just finishing off the fight. Goes with a big hit. Easy peasy. 61 point banner, even with he was only missing 1 reinforcement, I think. So this could have been a 63, 60, 64, 65 even. But 63 would have been a fantastic result. Anything over 60 is great in this particular matchup. Hope that helped. Cheers.